Looks like we are live. We're just going to give one more second here to make sure. We're looking good. Let's see if I hit the... Yes, we are live. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I apologize. Unfortunately, with technology, there's always a little bit of delay. I want to just welcome everybody back. We are with Nasrin Barbic. Barbic, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm still coming off the high of all the speakers and everybody that we've had. But I just want to welcome her back. We did she was one of the first ones, and all of a sudden everything just kind of cut out at the end. So we just decided that it would be a wonderful experience to have her back on and really just allow her to finish up strong. And so we're going to just re-record her interview. And I just got to send out this one post here real quick, and then we will be good to go. If anybody is wondering what we've got going on, this is the week that we did the virtual live summit. Whoops, hang on here. There we go. Virtual live summit on spiritual and energy healing. And with that, I went out and I grabbed onto amazing speakers, and I am just so grateful each and every one of them presented themselves to me, because they have been marvelous. I have learned so much. Like I said, I got nice good hair here. It was funny because just before Nasrin came on, my cat was climbing up the window, so I had to go rescue her. She just had some babies. I think she's tired of the kids or something. I don't know. I think as mothers, we can appreciate that moment, huh? But anyway, I just want to welcome everybody back. We're doing a special edition of a rerun of for Nasrin, so that she can finish up, because at the end, when we were really getting kind of into the meat of what she does, the internet just quit filming. So we felt bad about that, and we wanted to make it right. So I want to welcome her. And as anybody has been looking at this, and if you have any questions, please make sure you put them down in the comments. Very important. All the speakers have been gracious and have been watching now. A lot of people are hitting the replay, and they are still replay people. Please type in, replay. And more importantly, which has been really, really fun, because we've had people from all over the world. Let us know where you're coming from. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Nasrin and let her introduce herself. Spiritual and energy world, her journey that she's on right now.
Thank you, Jodine. Happy Saturday, everyone. I'm glad that you're here. And if you're watching this now or later on, I want to quickly double check something, because it seems like my internet is, just one second. Let me close other stuff so I'm not slowing down here. Okay. So my name is Nasrin Barbic. I am a certified life coach, hypnotherapist, and Reiki master. Although these days I live my life with joy and ease, and I wake up every day happy that I'm able to live my passion and create the life that I want to. It wasn't always like that. In 2013, I woke up in a seemingly perfect life, feeling unhappy and confused. At that point, I was married for 10 years. I had 2 wonderful kids, and I was a software engineer for 13 years, working for NASA and a university. So my life looked from outside perfect. I had everything that I needed, beautiful house, and had no financial worry. But that morning, when I woke up, I felt that I've been living a lie. I was not able to connect with myself. I wasn't able to connect with my husband for a while. I even had a hard time really connecting with my kids. And I knew something is not right. And although I thought I've been doing everything that I was supposed to do, and by all means I was successful, but yet I was unhappy and miserable. I didn't know why. All I knew that I was not happy in my marriage, and I was no longer happy doing what I was doing as a software engineer. So, making the long story short, after a year going through this and being unhappy and miserable, and thinking that everything around me is the cause and the reason. My husband is the cause of my pain and reason. All my circumstances is causing me the pain. I end up in the middle of a divorce. And the pain of that, the fact that I had 2 kids and I was breaking our marriage because it was me that I said I was not happy, and I felt that I'm not in a place that I need to be. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted, but all I knew that I did not want it, what I had, and I was not truly happy. So my husband and I separated, and as I said, it was not only my marriage. I was no longer happy at work. Things were not going very well at work either. So I started wondering, and one day my husband told me something that I have heard before, and I swear I thought he called my exes, and he had a conversation with that, because he said that you complain that I do not love you, but you're the one who are not allowing me to love you. You have built this wall. I cannot even connect with you. And it just hit me. And I went to my office, and I was looking for something to distract myself. I went to my library and randomly picked a book, and it was a collection of Rumi's poems. And Rumi is a Persian poet. He's a mystic, and he's a Sufi master. I randomly opened to a page in this book which said, your job is not to seek for love. Your job is to seek and find all the barriers that you have built within against love. I read it over and over and over again. A light bulb within me went off. My job is not to seek for love. And I was seeking for love from outside, from others. But my job is to seek and find all the barriers that I have built within against love. And all of a sudden, what my husband said that I've heard before hit me again. I realized I've been in 3 relationships. This was my 2nd marriage and 3rd relationship. And I always end up in the same place. It was me unhappy, wanting to leave. I accused them not loving me. And the only common denominator was me. So I knew there is something within me that is creating this reality over and over and over again. And until I go within and figure this out, nothing's going to change. I'm going to get divorced. Yet again, I'm going to get into another relationship like I have done before. And I'm going to find myself eventually, after all the beginning excitement wears off, in the same place. So I put my divorce on hold.
You know, Nasrin, I just want to intercept there. I think one thing with marriages right now, they've gotten so disposable. It's kind of like a CD player. They think, oh, you know, this one's a little old. I'm going to go purchase a new one and, you know, throw this disc away. And, you know, I mean, it goes back to my mom's teaching, you know, everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side. Heal within yourself. You're just bringing all of that to the next relationship. And, you know, and I want to reiterate, you know, I haven't looked at the statistics in the last couple of months, but I know when I was are at 50% divorce rate. Second marriages are at like 78%, and that's all because people don't clear or clean up or take care of what's in here, and they just bring it to the next one. And because they've done it before, then they can do it again because it's getting rid of the problem, not fixing the problem. So I just want to throw that out there.
Absolutely. And I think
Divorce rate is very high, or it's higher in second and third marriages because of that fact that people are not going within and accepting responsibility.
absolutely. Jordan, sometimes you freeze and I'm not sure when you're done. So know that there is this delay in case I don't mean to interrupt you, but I
No, and I apologize. We do have the tech guys coming out on Monday because it's just not been consistent. So the Wi-Fi guys are on the way, but they're not here until Monday. So I apologize, everybody, if there's a little delay, but we'll work with it. We'll just let the energy go, and but I'll turn it back over to you so that you can finish.
Okay, thank you. So 100% agree with you. And the other thing is we're looking for happiness outside of ourselves. We are giving our power away in a sense, right? We're giving our power to someone else to keep us happy, make us happy, a job that is supposed to keep us happy. And this way we're giving our power away. But when we realize that the power is within and the happiness can only be sustainable, and we can only create it and hold on to inner joy if we create it within, which it doesn't need and doesn't depend on anybody else or any outside circumstances. And continuing with my story, as I mentioned, I knew that there was thing in my life that causing me pain and I was not happy, but I didn't know where to go. And I knew I had to start somewhere. I had a lot of anxiety, as you can imagine, and I had a lot of stress. And at first I said, okay, let me find a way to manage my stress and anxiety before it shows up in my body and make me sick. And luckily I found yoga. So I started practicing yoga, and I fell in love with yoga because yoga helped me to stay present, take deep breath in. For the first time I learned how to breathe, because we always have shallow breath, which causes us more stress and anxiety. So I found that relief that I was looking for. I became such a lover of yoga that I decided, just for my own knowledge and knowing more, taking a 200-hour yoga instructor training, which I did, and I went deeper. And later, I found meditation through that, taking that 200-hour, getting to know the science of yoga. Yoga is not only the vinyasa that we do. That's just 1 out of 10 branch of yoga. And we do vinyasa to calm our energy down, to calm our body down so we can sit with ourselves. We can meditate. We can have our sixth sense open up, our intuition open up, so we can find the guide within us. So meditation helped me to quiet all those chatters that were telling me all your problem exists outside of you. Is your husband doing? Is your job, your boss doing? And when I calmed down those chatter, I was able to think clear. And that was another blessing in my life. And meditation is big, both yoga and meditation. Although my yoga practice has evolved, I barely do vinyasa anymore. I do more kundalini, which is kriya and all kind of breathing. But it's still, that was the beginning, which was perfect for where I was. And then came meditation. I started with guided meditation as a beginner. And then again, my meditation has evolved. So I felt in a much better place, but I knew I cannot stop there, right? I still didn't know what was the root cause of my issues. So I hired a life coach, which helped me through asking me the right question to find my limited beliefs. And I realized I don't truly love myself. I didn't know why. And when she first said something like that, I'm like, I don't know why she's saying that. How can I not love myself? I have achieved so much. I have a bachelor degree in computer science, a master in information management. If I didn't care, I would have, no, I did all that. Despite the fact, the fact was, I didn't feel enough perfect inside, and I was searching for that outside. I was a type A go-getter because I felt if I make my outside look perfect, maybe it would help me feel perfect inside. And I know we do, a lot of us do things like that. So when I came to that realization, and here's, people ask me, how do you know? Here's few signs that you know you don't truly love yourself. And this was so typical of me when I learned about it. One, you have a hard time taking compliment. That was 100% me. And I remembered many cases, once a coworker said, hey, I know you don't love compliment, but I still want to tell you, you look great in that dress. First, I thought, why did she say that? But of course, I brushed it out. And once I remember my husband, as we were getting ready to go to somebody's house, said, oh, you look great. When we went to the party, which I ignored, somebody else told me the same. And my husband said, I told her that, but like always, she brushed it off. So I couldn't take compliment. And this was like totally unconscious. I didn't know I was doing that for most of the time. So that's one. The second, if you can give, but you have a hard time receiving. Again, that was me. I had no problem paying for everybody. Even as a student, when I was going to college, I was always willing to pay for my friends, but I had a hard time receiving. I would not allow anybody to pay for me. And when you can give and you have a hard time receiving, again, unconsciously, you don't see your own worth and value. You don't believe you deserve it, in a sense. You don't deserve the compliment. You don't deserve for people just giving to you love and attention. And these were the barriers and blocks that Rumi was talking about, that you build against love. And that's how I was going against allowing others to love me, and because I didn't love myself. And you cannot receive what you don't give yourself. What I know now, you cannot judge others if you don't judge yourself. And we judge ourselves all the time. And if we learn not to do that, we will not be able to judge others either. So when you learn to pay attention, truly love yourself, all you're doing is creating more love for others. I do not believe if you don't learn to love yourself unconditionally, without judgment, the way you are right now, not when you lose the weight, not when you get the job, not when you get married, not when you feel like you achieve. Right now, as you are, you will never learn to love anybody truly either, because you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put condition in your life and love, and that's what I did, right? So when I became aware of all this thing, the next step was, okay, now what? I am aware of this. How do I move on from here? And that's where hypnotherapy came. So I hired a hypnotherapist. We did inner child healing, which was very powerful. I connected with my inner child, exactly saw the moments that I was creating those beliefs about myself, that I was not enough, that I was not lovable. I'm just going to share with you just one of the incidents that I saw. And I saw myself as a 5 or 6 year old girl playing in the backyard. First of all, I grew up in a big family. I'm 1 out of 10 children. So you can imagine the environment, right? My father was a businessman and spent a lot of time outside the house. And even when he was in, he was not a person who would express his feeling. I barely remember getting hugs or hearing from him saying, I love you. That was my father. The way he loved us, now I know as an adult, was providing very well. My mom was just one taking care of all these kids, right? So anyway, in that moment, I saw myself playing in the backyard, running around. My dad was working in the yard. I fell. I remember I had a bruise and bleeding on my knees. I looked up, thinking my dad gonna run to me, hug me, kiss my boo-boo, and say, you'll be fine. But what he did was literally looked up, just said, you're a big girl, get up and get on with it. And at that moment, the story I created in my head was, I was not lovable. I was not worthy of his time and energy for him to come to me and give me a hug and make everything better. So through hypnotherapy, I went back and healed that inner child. I gave that inner child the love that she needed it, the attention that she needed it. We can create different story. As an adult, I knew my dad loved me in all kinds of different ways that he knew how. And knowing his background, he didn't know anything different. So I went back and gave that information to my inner child and heal the inner child. And I do believe until we heal our inner child, we cannot shine the way we are. We cannot truly be who we are. So that was a huge step for me. And on top of that, I did some energy healing, Reiki, to release all those old stuck energy. So I felt after this, all of this journey, it took me 2 years. And at that point, my husband and I decided to get back together. At the end of 2 years, nothing was different in a sense that I was still married to the same man, lived in the same house, had the same job, but everything was different. Everything was different. I created joy in my marriage. I created joy at work. Everything was totally different and nothing was different. So, and the amazing part was that I was doing this healing for myself and my husband was somehow healing with me. And that's why I believe we don't exist in isolation. We are all connected. If we have anger, anxiety, we also transfer that to the people who are around us. And when we heal ourselves, we share that joy, we share that healing with others. That's why, again, doing this work for yourself is not as selfish. You are totally helping others to heal as you heal yourself. So eventually, I became so passionate that I went back to school. I became a certified life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and Reiki healer. And I wasn't thinking that I'm going to do this as a full-time. But people start coming to me, hey, how did you change your life? How did you go through this process? You look very happy, you're joyful. People got curious. And I said, well, I can show you. So I started getting clients. And I was doing it part-time for a year or two. And I got to the point that I couldn't handle a full-time job as a software engineer, full-time job as a mom, and running a part-time business. And I decided, okay, although I now enjoyed my job and it was hard for me to let go, that something needs to give. And through my healing, I found my passion and true purpose, which was helping others to connect with their inner joy and greatness, so they be able to create a life they truly want to live. They can really have great relationship, work, and that connection and joy in life. So I decided to let go of my full-time job, 18 years career as an engineer, and my business is now Pathway to Lasting Joy. And as an engineer, my mind said, okay, we don't need to go through this 2 years. How can I create a system that is a rapid transformation? And what I understood and what my journey helped me to understand is not just one modality. Many things can help you. But what is the fastest way? So I came out with a program that is start with coaching, because what I find out, the reason people don't live the life they truly want is that they don't know what they want. Honestly, when I work with them, and I was there, I totally get it. I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I want. I didn't know why I created that reality. So we start with becoming very clear, crystal clear, what is it we want? Where do we want to go, right? And then that is a process that I call clarity through contrast. And contrasts are there to show us that there's something is not right. We're not enjoying our life. There's a reason, okay? We're not living our true passion. We're not connected to our soul, whatever that might be. But when we become clear and we come up with a statement of desire of this is what I want to create in my life, that allows us to move on and get pulled towards our desire instead of working hard to get to it. And then through working with them, we talk about ways that they sabotage themselves. If there was not a barrier within them, they already had the desired life. So there is something within them that has stopped them from creating that life. And that's when hypnotherapy comes in. We do inner child healing. We figure out the root cause, which is just a session or two. Is not that, is not, doesn't take that long. And then when the inner child healing happens, that's when everything starts to change. And at the very end, we do the energy healing to release all the old energy. Now, I have had people come to me, they said they just want to do Reiki, and I don't do it. I love Reiki and healing, but what I know and what I believe is, and I tell them this, it's okay, you can come and pay for that, but I tell you what, you're going to find release for a week or 2 or 3. Well, you created this energy for a reason. I release it. It is going to take you a month or 2 to recreate that. You have to come back and come back and come back. But that's why I do not do that in isolation. It has to be done with finding the root cause, working and healing the inner child. Then we do energy healing. And I love Reiki, but I don't think by itself can totally get rid of. You will recreate that energy. You did it from beginning, right? I release it. You're going to go back, do the same thing. The belief that causes you to recreate that, all the emotional baggage is going to come back, and you're going to get to the same place again.
I want to just ask one question. I believe at one point when we had a conversation, gratitude was another way that you improved your relationship. And if you want to touch a little bit, I think you said that really helped you as well, focusing in on the gratitude and having a gratitude journal.
Absolutely. So here's the 3 ways that you can start and you can truly connect with your inner joy. And here's the difference between happiness and inner joy. We have made it very hard to be happy because our happiness is based on if and then model of happiness. If I get that degree, then I'll be happy. If I get married, then I'll be happy. If I have that house, I'll be happy. If I have children, I'll be happy. On and on and on. And we do not enjoy our journey until we get there. We get there, we're happy for a month or 2 if you're lucky. Then right away, our focus is on, okay, now I need to get married. Now I need to, and ongoing. So when we cultivate inner joy, we learn to enjoy the journey. Life is all about your journey. It's not the destination. So if we learn to enjoy ourselves and truly be happy where we are right now, the moment that you realize you're perfect, doesn't matter what happening in your life, where you are, you're perfect the way you are. Right now is the place for you to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. Find that peace with the now, right? Contentment with where you are right now so you can create a better life. Because if your focus is on what you don't have, you're going to create more of that. What we focus on, expand. That's the law of attraction. You're focusing on lack, all you're going to do is create the same thing over and over again. So what do we do to create inner joy? So create a higher frequency and focus to what we truly want so we can create it. Number 1, which is the most important, if nothing else, you do this, I guarantee you're going to be in a better place, is the power of the gratitude. It's very simple practice, but very powerful. And this is my suggestion. First, every morning, yes, have a gratitude journal. I have one, still practice it. you write down 3 things about yourself first. Again, start with yourself. That's where magic happens. You start with yourself, write down 3 things about yourself that you love about yourself, that you appreciate about yourself. And it can be as small as, I love the way I make my coffee in the morning, to as how great a mom I am, great a sister, whatever, and expand on that. And every day you come up with 3 new things. You're not repeating this thing. Second, you write 3 things about your significant other or anybody that you want to create a better relationship with. And that was such a powerful, that's where I changed my energy and my relationship with my husband. When I wrote down, I was doing this work when I was in the middle of the divorce. I was writing 3 things that I appreciated, I loved about my soon to become ex-husband. And at first I started with the fact that he was a great dad, and I focused on that. Soon I had to move on to a new thing. So I started paying attention. I start seeing things that I never seen before. Oh my God, he's such a responsible guy. He always does his dishes because I was doing cooking. He does take care of his stuff outside. I don't have to worry about it. He's very dependable. All of this, all of a sudden, I noticed it. And the more I noticed, the more I noticed. And I started appreciating him verbally. I would say, oh, I'm so thankful for you taking the boys to soccer all the time. My son was in travel soccer, and he would always spend the time taking him, bringing him. And he said one day, wow, you have never appreciated me before. And I realized my own shortcoming, right? And when I started doing that, now this time, it was coming from truly from my heart, because I started seeing that. And I realized, oh my God, he has such a great quality. Do I really want to lose this guy, right? So our energy changed because I was changing. He told me one day that he felt very comfortable to sharing with me, as before he was walking on eggshell, right? And we started communicating, and that's how our relationship started to flourish. And that's the second thing. Third thing is you write down 3 things about your career, where you are now. Even if you think you're unhappy at work, you can change it. It's all up to you. And here I tell people, you don't have to stay married, but if you find happiness in now, you will not make the same mistake again. Means move on by making a clear decision when you're happy and you know this is the right thing for you. A lot of us, as you said, Jordan, we move very quick through this process of getting divorced. But the reality is, if we give ourselves time to know that our joy and happiness should not depend on anybody. So wait, let me put that on hold. Let me be happy. See if it's still not going to work. But I guarantee you, if you find your joy and happiness, it doesn't depend on anybody else, then you will be able to be happy and create joy with anybody. Now, I am not recommending, if you're with someone who is abusive verbally or physically, to stay a minute. That's just for people who literally don't have a good reason, but they don't feel happy, right? And then they want to work on that to make sure. And you know what? When you get there, then you can make the right decision. Now, if I wouldn't rush, I would be divorced a long time ago. And I'm so glad that I did not get divorced. 100%.
And I wanted to clarify too, if I remember correctly, I think you said you were the one that went to your husband and said, let's just put this divorce on hold. Right. I'm not signing the paperwork because, and I think that that's really important. I know that it's hard because a lot of times we want to just, get it over with and be done with it. But and I want to reiterate to people, it is a process to heal. It is not an overnight deal. And, and key word that you said, walking on eggshells. If that's where you're at in your relationship, and it's not just your marriage, any relationship, it could be with a child, it could be with a parent. If you feel like you are walking on eggshells, that is a big red flag sign, whatever you want to take. If you've said those words, I just want to reiterate, dive into what Nasrin is saying here. Understand that those are key words that, there's a problem. And
Right.
it doesn't matter how little of a, eggshell it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem. So address it and
Right.
understand that it's not going to be an overnight fix. You're not going to go to, the drugstore and get an immediate pill and take it, and tomorrow you're going to wake up and everything's glorious.
Absolutely.
We've gotten into this instant gratification, and you got to understand, for a lot of us, it's taken 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, 40 years, whatever, to develop that. So you got to remember, you've been doing 20 plus years, whatever age you are, and now we've got to recorrect it.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes it can be, very quickly, but it's not like you go to somebody like Nasrin and then the next day, you're just back on the queen list and everything's fine. Because it is a lot of growth. There's a lot of onions, and, be patient with it.
Yeah.
But when you work through it, like you said, for you, it was a 2-year plus,
Mm-hmm.
and always, like we said, we have different levels, there's different layers, and, allow the process. That's the main thing that I want to tell everybody. So I just want to put that in there.
Absolutely. Jodine, yes. To that point, I would like to say, first of all, yes, life is a journey. It's never ending, right? You grow, and there's still places to go, right? And that's the beauty of life. But here's the thing, and since you said that, I want to bring this up. I listened to Brian's Ridgeway, I think,
Ridgeway, yeah.
and I absolutely loved it, and I agree with him. But here's where I hope that he hears this, because I would like to hear his response. And here's the thing, and I haven't read his book that he said he had about, self-help and why maybe and as you said, we are where we are, and we need to stop somewhere. He himself has gone, he said that, through all those growth, through all those self-help books or seminars, right? And in hindsight, he should see that all of those things, little by little, got him where he is now. We cannot jump over this thing, right? He also said all his clients have done 2-3 years of self-help. That's why they can now hear him. That's why now he can benefit them. That's why you are where you are. Start where you are. Is not, and it's all beautiful. It's all great. And Brian would not be able to do what he does in an hour with someone like me who already done 2-3 hours. So he would be great. I would grow with him in 1 hour. I know that. But he would not be able to do that where I was 3 years ago in just one session, in one powerful session. So we do need those little steps. We do need to move the needle little by little, okay?
Well, and one thing I want to put on that too, and Brian and I've had different conversations, and that's okay. He's got his opinion, and I respect that, and that's the whole reason of bringing different people in, so that we can see there's different modalities and different ways. But I do believe it's like with anything, and I always tell the girls, we do a lot of barrel racing clinics. We take them to the experts, because, even Tony Robbins is very good. You want to be good at somebody, go find. I do believe, and I've always told the girls, they're like, oh, that wasn't a very good clinic, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I bet there's 1 or 2 things that you did learn though, right? And another thing that's really important, if you are going to a lot of personal help and you're doing a lot of trying to, improve yourself, please understand, when you learn something, if you don't implement it in the next 72 hours, it's scientifically proven that your brain will forget that, and it will be like you didn't even listen to it. So I think that's the hard part when we go to all these self-helps, when we go to these, especially a lot of times people go to conferences, and I'm not dishing them. I'm just saying the scientific part of that is the reality that if you don't implement those systems within 72 hours of learning them, then, they're not going to do you any good. So I think that's why everybody gets this real hype when they go to a conference, and they're all excited, and then there's it's like the sugar die down, on Monday morning, they're like, oh, they get in this funk. And it's because they're not applying. They've been really important. Like I say, if you guys are going back through these and listening to these replays, grab each one of them and say, okay, I like this part about Nasrin. I want to, implement, and definitely what you just focused on, these 3 things, start implementing that, start doing that. And then, listen to the next speaker. What is it that you liked about them? Because a lot of times, we resonate with people differently. And, once you get in and feel like you're on the same page, you're going to get there. So you grab a little bit. It's like that onion, it's layer, we build it up. But I just wanted to let everybody know that it's a process. And you're absolutely right. You've got to learn different steps along the way. And a lot of times too, it goes back to, we may not be ready for that part of it.
Absolutely.
We have to feel some things. So
yes. So
go ahead. I just wanted to reiterate that.
No, I love what you said. But here's the thing. People go to conferences, 2, 3 conferences. They love it. They have a lot of energy when they're there. But they get overwhelmed with all the information they have. And when they come home, they don't know where to start. That's why it's important to just start somewhere. Like when I have my workshop, I tell this to people, look, I give you this information is potential power. The moment to grab one and do it and practice it, you unleash that power. That's when you become empowered. But just hearing and knowing it is not enough, right? You unleash that power by practicing it. Put it as part of your daily routine to do. So again, those 3. 1 is the power of gratitude. 2nd was doing some sort of breathing, deep breathing, yoga, meditation, whatever that might be. Going to walk in the nature and be aware of your breath. Take deep breath in and out. Notice your breath. If it's shallow, make it deeper. And then keep that with you during the day. One thing Brian said about breath, 100% agree with him. Everything that I said, I 100% agree with. But I just wanted you to know that you are where you are. Start where you need to start. There is not a race. Life is not a race. It's a journey, right? So that's the 2nd. 3rd one, which I found very powerful, I call it the art of forgiveness. Learn how to forgive yourself and learn how to forgive everybody else that you think they might done harm to you. Resentment is an energy killer. Resentment is bringing your vibration down and you literally leak energy. Now, it doesn't matter. We're not condemning the person who's done wrong, or we're saying that it's not about forgiving that person. It's the fact that if you don't let go of that resentment, you're gonna create the energy that is gonna harm you one way or another. You cannot move on. And as Nelson Mandela, who spent 20-some years in prison and came back, forgave everybody, said, when you hold on to resentment, it's like you drinking poison and asking the other person or people who harm you to die. You're the one, right? Even Buddha has said, holding on to anger and resentment is like you're holding on to the hot coal, and instead of throwing it, you're holding on to it, and the only person who's going to get burned is you. So when you go through this process and you realize that for your own sake, you need to forgive and move on, that forgiveness becomes a practice of understanding. Knowing that hurt people hurt other people. They must have gone through life miserable, something bad happened to them to be causing them to cause you this hurt, and have compassion even for that person, and understanding, and knowing that holding on to anger is something that is, honestly, is, I've seen energetically, I see people who are angry, holding on to resentment and cannot forgive, cannot heal. They simply cannot heal. Doesn't matter what they do, how healthy they eat, how much yoga they do, how much meditation they do. when I work with their energy, I see if they hold on to that anger and resentment and they can't let go, they cannot be healed. So pay attention and practice the art of forgiveness. Forgiveness is part of self-love. That's all.
That is so true. And I want to reiterate too, it's hard to forgive because I've been there. But it's even harder to forgive yourself, I believe, when you're a mother, because we think we've painted this, I'm supposed to know everything, I'm supposed to do everything right. We have higher standards for ourselves. And, you know, I'm speaking, you know, for myself, a mother of 5, and, you know, maybe it's a D personality trait where, you know, my expectations is perfectionism. From myself. I don't expect that from my kids because I know, you know, I've never said that, but I've found that, you know, that self-forgiveness is very, very difficult.
But Jody, know
But
that there is no such a thing as perfection.
I know.
Perfection is an illusion, right?
Yep.
And again, I would encourage you to do some self-love, and I can give you some practices. Because if you do the self-love work and you know you're perfect the way you are, okay, you know what you know, and you do as much as you can, okay? And in that sense, you forgive yourself for being a human, right? and know that there is no such a thing. That's the illusion of perfection. We think there is such a thing as they're out there and we're chasing. So I'm a mom as well, and what I know, the more I love myself and pay attention, the more connection I create with my children. The quality of time, when I'm there, I'm there. I'm not in my thoughts like I used to be. I am not short-tempered like I used to be, you know, all of that. So again, I highly recommend everybody.
Well,
I'm sorry?
right. I said, I think what's hard for today is we have Pinterest, we have Google, we have Facebook. Facebook tends to only put the good things out. Pinterest is always magnificent. And so I think for a lot of people now, that level of perfectionist is, you know, higher because there's a false sense of reality in the marketing that we're receiving, which is, like I said, you know, these, you know, the perfect, you know, you look on Pinterest and it's the perfect wedding because it's just that glimpse of that one picture. Well, they don't look at, you know, the 2 weeks before when everything was disarray or even in the bedroom, you know, they've got this beautiful bedroom that's all done up and perfectly, you know, staged for that picture. And, you know, so I think we get that false sense. And I think that, you know, that instant gratification that everything's perfect, that people, you know, they start putting those standards up that they need to have that perfect life because that's what they're seeing. But be real with yourselves because it's not perfect. There is messy. You know, I always said, you know, people would come in and I'm like, look, my house is a mess, but my kids are happy. That's all that matters to me. Because I wasn't a perfectionist of making sure that, you know, I mean, obviously there were Saturdays I was like, all right, we're all cleaning because we need to, you know, but at the same time, I was okay if there was dirty dishes because we were outside, you know, working with the horses or we were, you know, at the fair or whatever it was, it didn't matter. But I know that, you know, I am a high D and I just, for myself, I hold high standards that, you know, I wanted to be the best mom. I wanted to, you know, really be good. One thing I want to pull in because I loved with you. Could you share that with us today?
Say again, hon? I didn't hear.
Oh, could you share with your what your 9-year-old son, the
Oh,
conversation?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So when I went through my journey of healing, one day I was playing with my 9-year-old son and he looked deep into my eyes and he said, Mom, I love the way you are right now. Please don't go back to the way you used to be. The way I used to be, short-tempered, not present, and kids can feel that 100%, that you're physically there, but you're not really there. So, and that brought joy and tears at the same time. But at the fact that I knew, okay, that place was not a good place to be, not for me, not for him. That's again why, another reason that when you do the inner work, you're not doing it only for yourself. You're doing it for all the people. Your life is not about yourself to begin with. Our life is about every other soul that we touch. The people we meet in elevator, outside, online to get our coffee, our children, our spouse, everything. We cannot live in isolation, right? And the more we create that inner joy, and the more able we are to share that. And that was the deep lesson for me.
Well, and I got to say, I can only imagine the power that you felt in that moment of, and just the gratitude of, you know what, that was hell for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of times that I wanted to give up and walk away and not do it and say, screw them, I'm going to be who I am. Mm-hmm. But I bet in that moment, it anchored you into believing, you know what, it was worth the journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I recall telling you this, the fact that I started blaming my husband for all of it. At the end, I thank him for taking me through this journey, for being he cultivated, like he was the instigator of my growth, my journey. And I'm so thankful for that. And I do believe our kids, our people we meet are our teacher. They are our teachers. If you have something that is sort of takes you out of alignment or create resistance between you and your spouse or someone, know that person is there to teach you something. It's not him. It's something within you. And ask yourself, how am I showing up? How am I creating this? Because trust me, your energy is creating what's happening out there. Look within, and the answers are there.
You know, and I want to, you know, when I was doing a lot of marriage therapy with my ex-husband, a lot of, you know, when we were in it, one of the theories was we are attracted to somebody that's going to re-wound us from our childhood beings so that we can grow through them and really grow into the real person that we're supposed to be. And a lot of times, because we don't have, you know, people like you to go to and say, what is going on? And, you know, there's discomfort. I'm unhappy. I need to get rid of this. So what do? You know, we file for divorce. But the reality is that person is there to bring up these childhood wounds. And as much as you don't want to look at it, if you go through that, and like you said, that moment when your son, you know, looked deep into your eyes and said, stay here, I love this so much better. I can only imagine, you know, the tears that you felt. But at the same time, excited because you knew you had done the journey and the rewards were in that. That would have been like the highest medallion anybody could have given me as a mother.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what, Jordan, we get divorced and we find the same person. We get to the same place. It's not that, unless we do, as you said, exactly right. He caused me to look within and do my inner healing. Yep. And not only in him, in my 2 other relationships took me there, but I wasn't ready to deal with it, right? I wasn't ready to go there, but in this place that I was now, having 2 kids, and it was hard for me to walk away, which I'd done 2 other times easily because it was only me. I couldn't do that. And that's when I had to deal with whatever was causing this. And we can do that in our life. We can keep creating the same pattern over and over and again, or we can stop and take a look within and ask ourselves, why am I creating this? How can I do things different? There are no coincidences. We attract to ourselves people who are going to awaken that pain inside of us because we want a healing. But if we're not willing to go there, we're going to recreate that over and over again. But here's the thing, you know, this, in a sense, the scary part is like you get attracted to what is familiar to you. The person who's going to bring that deep hurt and pain, if you have gone through something, we all gone through. I don't care what childhood you had, you have stuff to deal with. You know, it doesn't matter how it was, what it was. So, and you know, one of my clients just like yesterday, and she's a therapist, licensed therapist herself, and we met in a conference, and she said she wants to work with me, and you know, she's getting amazing results. And here's, you know, I went to a marriage therapy with my husband for a year. Made it worse because they never give us tool how to deal with this thing. We would come home and fight more about the stuff that we started talking in the therapy. But now when I give, all kind of practices for them, how to deal with their emotion, how to deal with this, that's when you get the result. You need to give them tools and practices for them to do. But anyway, she had a hard time, beautiful lady, intelligent, to find love. And she was sabotaging herself. When we did the work, was because her dad continuously disappointed her when she was a child. And she had this belief, unconscious belief, that man gonna disappoint you sooner or later. So she was so picky that like when she would see a person that she thought she was great, and she would do something to sabotage it because the fear of that his guy gonna disappoint me eventually. So let's not go there. In a sense, your inner child is trying to protect you, right? Telling you, hey, don't go there, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get disappointed. So you hold yourself back. But when you do the inner healing and heal that inner child, you're free to take chances. You're free to be brave. And being courageous is not, despite having fear, is moving on, even though you have doubt and fear, and create a new reality for yourself.
And I want to reiterate, because all of the speakers, we have come back to that unconscious, inner child. And the one thing you've got to understand, that when that inner child at, between 2 to 7, that's usually the anchor times, that child was at the mentality of that age. Mm-hmm. So whatever that experience, it could have been that her father actually deeply loved her, but every time that, and a lot of times as parents, we're in a rush, we're in a hurry. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not present, if you're not available for your children, unknowingly, you can anchor those emotions to that child, and we don't realize it. Absolutely. And it's not any, we're not dishing the dad. We're not, life is what it is. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, as an adult, you need to understand that was a learned behavior that was anchored in me at the age of 4. What was going on? Maybe there were financial discharge for the parents at that time. Maybe it was a very hard time. Maybe there was death going on. We don't know the whole circumstances. And you got to understand that inner child, but it was wounded. It was hurt. Right. And it is holding you back. So when we can go in and heal that inner child and look at the self, because we all are uniquely different. Nobody comes with the same DNA, and every experience is different. So, understand that everyone's uniquely different, and there's no cookie cutter way. And that's why bringing all of these speakers together for me is important, because you may need, and I'm sure, at some point you will probably work with Brian and learn more deep breathing, and vice versa. Everybody will kind of, and like you said, the therapist is coming to you because they understand they need different tools. So it's a process, and everybody can use everything at different times. So Absolutely. That's the whole idea of education and bringing this in. So with that, I want to make sure that you get the opportunity to kind of, how do we reach out to you? What do you've got going on in your practice? And, give us a little more information on that, because I want to make sure that was kind of what got cut off at the last time, and I don't want that to happen again.
Thank you. So I've mentioned my practice is very unique because I combine coaching, hypnotherapy, and energy healing to get you to a place of true healing, so you can connect to your lasting joy. You can create that well-balanced life that no matter what happens, you're not going to fall apart, because you're going to become empowered and see your own beauty, see your own greatness. And all I would do is help you to remember who you are. That's all. Because you have everything you need to have within you to create a fantastic life with joy, great relationship, great whatever you want is within you. If there is nothing inside you that holds you back, there's nothing out there can hold you back either. So when you get rid of those things that holds you back within, honestly, you're limitless. You are limitless to begin with. But when you realize that and get rid of those barriers, you see your beauty, you see your power, and then you can create what you want. So if you want more information, go to pathwaytolastingjoy.com. I always start with 30 minutes of free coaching, because I don't work with everybody. Again, we have to be ready to receive each other. And in that 30 minutes, I will figure out if we are, and you would too, that if you're a good match to work together or not. And if you decided to work with me, and you will have a coupon called Joy, just because you attended this summit, and I love Jodine and everything that she does and her community, then you will get 20% of my package. So, wow. But first we have to connect, and that's free. You can go to my website. You will see a place that is said, schedule your 30 minutes free complimentary session, and let us talk and see if we can help each other and I can serve you. I would be more than happy to do that.
Awesome. Now, and people can do this via internet, like we are right now, and phone, and then they can also, I'm assuming the people around you can come in person as well, right?
Right. I have an office at home, so if you're local, but everything can be done. Energy transfers. You don't need to physically be in front of me to receive the energy healing. I do the hypnotherapy online, and that's actually worked out great because they're in the place that they're comfortable with. Right? They're already in the surrounding, they know, they're comfortable, they relax. And hypnotherapy is nothing but going deep in a deep meditation. So all I do, it helps you get to the fatal level of your mind that is accessing your subconscious mind. So you can receive and change whatever your limited belief is with a more powerful and empowering belief that can help you move on.
Wow. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for offering our guests the opportunity to work with you and giving them a discount. That's very gracious, and we love that. And we will make sure her link's going to be down below in this feed. So if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to us. The other thing too is we will also make sure that you are able to connect with her, and we'll give you that opportunity to take advantage of those discounts. One thing, if you were to leave anybody that's kind of on, this whole educational thing, it's like, okay, there's another level of the spiritual part of this. If you could give somebody one last piece of, advice or encouragement, what would that be?
I would love to read something to you, which is from Teaching of Ram Dass, which is sum up what I believe and what I know about you, okay? And I think that's a great place. And if you don't know who Ram Dass is, it doesn't matter, but you can Google him and find out. But I love this. So he says, to live consciously, you must have courage to go inside yourself, to find out who you really are, to understand that behind all the mask of individual differences, you are a being of beauty, of love and awareness. When Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within, he was not just putting you on. When Buddha said each person is a Buddha, he was saying the same thing. Until you can allow your own beauty, your own dignity, your own being, you cannot free another. So if I would give people one advice, I would say, work on yourself, allow yourself to be beautiful, and all the rest would follow. And I believe in that.
Wow.
Trusting yourself, go within. You need guidance, somebody help you on your journey. That's beautiful. And that's valuable because I do know that you can have a rapid transformation. That instead of 2-3 years, it can be 6 months, right? So it is valuable because time is all we have, right? That's resource that we can never get back.
Right.
And it's very valuable. So if somebody can help you through your journey to get you there faster, totally take advantage of that. I still have my coach. That's what I said. I would love to have Brian. I would pay $800 1 hour because I know his power. I saw his power. I saw his beauty. I know when he says he sees your greatness and he has unconditional love, he is just not saying it. And when you are in the presence of someone who only sees your greatness, you're going to eventually see your own greatness. And until you see your own greatness, nobody's going to see your own greatness. So this is all worth it. Do the work, spend your time with someone who can guide you is a valuable thing, however you can do it. Start with yoga, get your breathing in, pay attention to your breathing, it's very important. And just take one step at a time, one day at a time. Trust me, when you start your journey, you make the intention. People come to your life to help you, things happen in your life, and you're not alone. You have guides around you. You're not alone. Just stay out of your mind and thought. No, you're not your thoughts. Okay? You're an observer of those. You don't have to act accordingly, right? And if they're not empowering you, let them go. Let them go find other ones. You can do that. So my hope and wish is for people to wake up their own greatness. And that's all I can say.
Well, that was beautiful. And I really love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to express gratitude to you for taking your time and being in this virtual live summit, because it has been an amazing experience. I know we've gotten just phenomenal feedback from everybody. Everyone's very grateful for it. And I think I, as a facilitator, the whole goal was to educate and to give people exposure of how to find people like you, and just our guest speakers too. They have loved and seem to really enjoy and appreciate the fact that we all work together. We all, but at the same time, there's a lot of different things that we use that are the same, but just that collaboration of being able to come together and, just spread the joy and the happiness, and also spread the knowledge that there are higher spiritual, callings for us. And, one thing I will ask you, could you put the author of that book in the comments as well? Because I know a lot of people are going to want to grab onto that as well. So
absolutely.
So that would be marvelous. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on here. You have been phenomenal. And once again, all of her links will be down there. Make sure you guys, if you're catching the replay on this, type in replay. I know Nasrin will answer any questions. She's got a phenomenal opportunity. You can reach out and actually work with her. And then plus a discount 20% off. That is just so kind and so giving of you. And thank you again. With that, I want to send nothing but blessings to you in your business and your family. And thank you for sharing your journey with us and being transparent and letting us know, you've been through this, you've done that. And I think that's really important too. Most of the healers that you work with, the reason that they're here and able to help you is because they've been in that trench, they've been in that valley. And and thank you for, sharing that. And I wish you nothing but success in business. With that, I'm going to end here. I will probably jump on a Facebook Live just to kind of reiterate the end of the conference here. If anybody has any questions, once again, I do want to put in, if you guys are looking to grab onto the All Access Pass, there is a link down below that will be posted in there for you, and grab onto that, because for $97, I can tell you, Nasrin, what she just took us through is over $1,000 value, probably $2,000 or $3,000 when you really look at the whole package of everything that she's given, and what Brian and Carolyn and all the other different speakers have put in. I would easily put a value of over $16,000 of what everybody, because we have a total of 16 different speakers, and I know there's over $1,000 value of everything that everybody spoke with. So for $97, that's a pretty dang good deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Jodine, I want to thank you. I truly appreciate that you have this beautiful community, and your goal is to just share your knowledge, bring everybody to share their knowledge to help. We all try to help each other, right? And this is beautiful. Thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I'm going to end for now. And if anybody has any questions, please reach out to Nasrin, because I know she's happy to help you and take you further. And I wish everybody a marvelous, it's Saturday. Everybody, hopefully, and it's Memorial Day weekend too. Hopefully everybody can take a little downtime and really, reflect and do some inner peace and gratitude. I encourage you guys, if you do not have a gratitude book, go buy one and start doing it. And if you don't have one, get a piece of paper and start doing it, because that's the only way it starts, is by doing it. So